Welcome to Ask ALLi, the self-publishing advice podcast from the Alliance of Independent Authors. This week, it's our monthly members Q&A, where ALLi members have their most pressing publishing questions analyzed and answered. Our members Q&A podcast stream is proudly sponsored by Book Vault. Sell high-quality print-on-demand books directly to readers worldwide and earn maximum royalties selling directly. Automate fulfillment and create stunning special editions with Book Vault Bespoke. Visit bookvault.app today for an instant quote. And here are your hosts for the members Q&A, Ronn and Sacha Black.
Hello, and welcome to Self-Publishing with ALLi Member Q&A podcast. This is the podcast where we answer your most burning self-publishing questions, and you will notice that we have a slightly new title that is a lot easier to say. I'm your host, Ronn, and I'm here with Sacha Black. What's up, Sacha?
Hello. How are you?
I am great. How have you been?
I'm good. I'm in the throes of all new business model change. Do we use the video for this or?
No, we don't. So you'll have to describe to everybody what I see right now, which is amazing.
Oh, thank you. So what Michael is seeing is a mini warehouse because I have changed my business model and I am no longer doing print on demand. I am doing offset print runs, which is what traditional publishers do, in that your minimum print run is 500 copies of each book. So I'm stocking just under 4,000 books. And I have, a warehouse full of packages and freebies and, bubble wrap and all that good stuff. And I fulfill my Shopify and my TikTok shop. And thank you to my incredible mother who has saved my sanity by packing entire things for me.
Okay, so just to reframe this, Sacha bought a warehouse. And
I didn't buy it. I'm renting it.
You're renting a warehouse.
Yeah.
And you're broadcasting live from the warehouse, and there's nothing but books behind you, and like a packing table.
Yeah.
We got it. And then I see a cool neon light,
which says Ruby Row, but it's just a bit blurry.
Ruby Row.
Yeah.
Yeah, your pen name, and then there's a kitchen.
Yeah.
I saw a kitchen.
There's
a couch. I'm just trying to help everybody see this here, how cool this is.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, it is pretty cool. There's like a mini couch. There's a couple of rugs in here. There is something naughty in here. So I have a collections box where DPD come. And because I am a child, I wrapped it in wrapping paper that displays female anatomy. So my collections driver gets a nice shock every day. So yeah, it is pretty cool. Maybe I will. No, I can't. There's nowhere to share it. But I will send you a video. I'll do a little video and show it to you properly after.
Okay. Yeah. So got to keep it cheeky, keep it spicy,
and
it's good stuff. So okay. So now everybody, we've set the stage of where we're broadcasting here, and let's jump to the first question. All right. So the question is from Jody. It says, in the final checklist before publishing on the website, there's a question about whether my ISBN is listed correctly. I can't find where to add my ISBN in the process of building out my profile and listing my book. So I'm assuming this is on the ALLi website. Any thoughts on that?
No. It said, oh no, I don't know. I haven't put my books on there, so that's not one I can answer.
So Jody, what I would recommend you do is reach out to our help desk at info@allianceindependentauthors.org. Reach out to our help desk, and we can help you through that process if you need some assistance. Okay. Next question is from Karen. What are the implications for self-published authors with the introduction of GPSR in the EU? Are you familiar with that, Sacha?
Yeah, am I familiar with that?
Because I'm not. So if you would mind enlightening me on that too, for other people who don't know.
I can try, but what I will say is I'm not an expert. This is not legal advice. This is not necessarily 100% accurate. What I will say is this is I have given this project to my ops manager to handle, so I can just sort of tell you broad brush. One thing I will say is that ALLi has actually released an article on this, and this was on one of their Big Monday ones. So we can find the link to that, and we will put that in the show notes for you. GSPR or GPRS, whichever way around the letters are, is a piece of legislation basically creating more clarity for European customers on what is imported and what is exported. And basically, we have to have more paperwork in order to meet those regulations. One of the big things is having a named person for traceability so that products can be traced back to their point of origin. Now, the knee-jerk reaction in the community has been to stop serving customers in Europe, which I have not done because it's not necessary. Now, look, I don't know if this app plugin company service works globally or if it's just for the UK. So this is where I'm now going into, this is my experience rather than saying this is applicable to everybody. But there is a service called EAS, and you pay per product that you sell. And so, for example, I think for me, it's about 500 euros a year, and they will provide that named person based on the products that you are selling into Europe. And that is it. That is literally as easy as it is. We also, I believe, have to have a statement on our website, a kind of policy safety sort of statement saying where our products have come from, and a few other sort of details on that page. But that's no different than having a privacy policy on your page or a policy about your cookies. So I feel like this has been blown out of all proportions in the community, and actually what it's come down to is needing an extra page on your website and having a named person, which, yes, does actually cost money. But if you are selling lots, then you're covering that anyway. And if you're not selling lots and you only have a couple of products, it's not going to cost you as much as 500 euros a year. That's because I have a lot of products. So yeah, don't take my costs as what your costs would be. Hopefully, and also just to clarify, everybody, please go and double check me because I could also be wrong. And this is my ops manager really has been digging into the detail of this, not me.
Yeah, no, thank you for that. And I did find the article. It's called What Authors Need to Know About GDPR. And that went live on January 13th, 2025. So that's at selfpublishingadvice.org/GPSR if anyone wants to go directly to it, but we'll also put it in the show notes. Okay, I learned something. That reminds me a lot of the GDPR. I don't know what it is with all these acronyms. GDPR. You remember that when everybody was kind of up in arms about, privacy and everything else. So that's, as authors, we have to abide by the law, but, I think that governments they're looking at bigger players here. They're not probably as concerned about authors, but okay. Next question is from Lois. I'd like a recommendation for a Canva tutorial to design pamphlets, brochures, pages, etc. for my website. I want to find a well-done explanation and am willing to pay for it. Any ideas?
Not a paid one, no. I use a lot of templates on there, and I just dig through the templates. But YouTube, I would YouTube it. That's the kind of thing that you can get for free. Yeah,
I would definitely YouTube it. If you want something that's a little bit more polished and put together, you could try like a Udemy or even like a LinkedIn Learning. Maybe there's something there. The courses there are usually pretty good, and you can get them, pretty cheap.
Yeah.
I'd start there. Yeah. But chances are you can probably find what you're looking for on YouTube. So I would start there.
I agree.
All right. Next question is from Diana. Does ALLi have a literary award? The answer would be no.
Yeah.
We do not have an award, but we do have a contest, or not a contest, award directory, awards ratings. So if you ever want to know whether an award is legitimate, that is maintained by our watchdog, and you can find that at selfpublishingadvice.org, and then go to ratings on the menu, and then go to our award ratings directory. And we've got a code of standards here. So we judge contests based on whether they meet our code of standards. And if something does, we'll tell you. And if it doesn't, we'll also tell you. And we tell you what some of the pros and cons of those are as well as any fees and any other things that you need to be aware of. So I would definitely encourage you to look at that as your first port of call. And if you happen to come across a contest that you aren't sure about or that you don't see in our network, please let us know and we will evaluate it for you. So just reach out at info@allianceindependentauthors.org.
Not that I want to make this about me, but I entered the selfies, which is quite a big one at London Book Fair, and I've been shortlisted. Joanna won it last year.
Congratulations. That's
just
awesome.
reminded me. That's another little bit of news.
Yeah. So when you've been shortlisted, when do you find out?
So they announced the winner. I think there's 6 of us that have been shortlisted, and they announced the winner at London Book Fair in a couple of weeks' time. Okay. Yeah.
So, okay, that's awesome. So there's probably nothing we can do to support you on that, right? Is there like, it's not driven by fans or?
No. So
we can't
information like about the book, about your marketing, sales, things like that, and then it goes to a panel. I think it's like maybe an agent, a publisher, and like maybe somebody from the own company or something like that. Anyway, and I assume they read the books or assess the books and assess the applications, and then
Awesome. Okay, yeah. So we can at least, so we can't do like some of the contests where like, hey, please share my link, or
no,
we can't do that, but we can send you good vibes.
Yeah.
So we'll send you. So everybody listening, let's just take a second. and send Sacha some good vibes. Better yet, don't send it to Sacha. Send it to this panel of people. So that way we can have two ALLi wins in a row. Yeah, because Joanna did win last year.
Yeah,
I remember because I was at London Book Fair, and that was really cool. So good vibes.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, so let's go to the next question, which is from John. And John, to paraphrase this question, I just joined ALLi and just want to know, like, what are the most important things that I should be utilizing to take advantage of my membership?
Self-Pub Connect, the forum, I would say is probably the biggest one. That's where you'll get access to all the other members, somebody on hand always to answer your questions. I mean, the podcasts, we also have a ton of resources. So we have big books. I like big books. I'm really sorry. I shouldn't do that on the podcast. I just came into my head. I'm so sorry. I think I need to anyway. Right. So yeah, the books, they're fantastic. They're really, really good. They're really comprehensive. And we have them on a variety of topics, from like marketing to picking a self-publishing service to work with, to rights, licensing, all kinds of things. Estate management. Wonder who wrote that. Must have been somebody really good.
Somebody wrote that. I don't
know. So yeah, we have a ton of resources like that as well. We obviously have the blog, where there are hundreds, no, actually that's a lie. There are thousands of articles on there, really in-depth, juicy ones, answering and solving questions and problems. The podcast. And then, of course, we have discounts and deals as well, just for being part of a member. You can get those by logging into your member portal. I'm probably missing a ton of things, but
no, that's all really good. Yeah, Member Connect, that's huge. You know, so many people look for community, right? And we've got a great community of writers. So no, I'd say you knocked it out of the park. Don't forget our Watchdog directory as well. So we've got a self-publishing services directory that you can download that's specifically for our members, that goes through and has lots of different service providers in it. And those have some pretty cool things in there as well. So if you're looking for an editor or cover designer, somebody to help you with formatting, or even we've got a few publicists in there, I think, as well. So that's also a very good resource. Okay. Next question is from Robert. I've noticed a discussion about revising a copyright notice to address AI issues. Is there a sample of a current recommended copyright page available?
I know that on the blog we had a copyright article, but I think that I'm not sure if that covered it, but I remember working on that article. So I definitely know that we do have one. It might be one that we ask ALLi to update if it hasn't got that. I genuinely can't remember if we included AI in there, but that's an easy one for us to update because we've got ALLi policy on AI anyway. So I would have thought that we could update that pretty easily.
Yeah. Consider that advice taken. So we'll reach out to our folks and have them update that. But what I will say is that I believe there's model language out there from the Authors Guild. We'll see if we can get that link as well on language that people are using in their copyright pages. What I would go ahead.
I was just going to say the other person who's a really good one to look at is Joanna Penn, because she's very honest and open and clear about her AI usage, and she does, I believe, include that in the front and back matter of her books. Yeah.
And another thing I would recommend too, and this is completely free, is just look at people's copyright pages, see what they're doing. Like look at authors who are pro positive in AI, like Joanna. Look at their copyright page, find like 5 examples, and then take the common denominators in all the 5 examples and make your own.
Yeah.
And just what I would tell people is, yes, I'm glad that I'm glad we're answering this question. Don't overthink it.
Yeah.
Like, don't spend a whole lot of time on this, because the landscape is ever changing, and don't be too married to anything that you're doing as well, because guidelines and regulations and like that always change. So don't overthink it, but see if you can find what other people are doing. Okay. Next question is from Matab, and we have another regulation question here. I'll see if I can answer this one because it's US. So the first question is, do I need to file a beneficial ownership information report in the United States? And why should I do it? Okay. So there's been a lot of conversation about this particular regulation. I'm going to state this a little imprecisely because it really isn't that big of a deal, but I believe it's from the office of, there's an office in the federal government here in the United States. And the requirement is that if you have any kind of business entity that is not like a sole proprietor, so like an LLC or a corporation, you are required to disclose that to the government. You have to basically fill out, it's like a form on the website. You have to create an account. You have to fill out a form on the website, and you have to disclose your LLC. And there's a couple of things that you have to fill out. And the reason for it, the government says, is to crack down on like money laundering. And there have been some bad actors that use LLCs, and which is the equivalent of a limited, for some bad things. And so the government says that that's why they're doing it. There's certainly a intrusion of privacy with that a lot of people are not crazy about. So the short of it is that you are required to file your legal entity with the United States government, or at least register your legal entity. I'm not giving people legal advice, and I know that there's probably some things that I missed with that explanation, but the reality is that there are some steps that we have to follow, much like Sacha talked about with the GPSR. And the easiest way to do it is just simply to go to some resources that we'll put in the chat, or not in the chat, in the transcript, so you can figure out how to do all that. I'm recommending to folks that you definitely fill out the report, because if you don't, the fines can be pretty substantial. So I wouldn't I wouldn't mess that up. But again, this is one of those things that I wouldn't overthink it. Just do it. Do it to the best of your ability, and I think most people are probably going to be fine. I wouldn't worry about it too much. Now, more specifically, Matab says that I'm a hybrid author based in Canada and have 8 books on Amazon. And I'm just curious if I need to do this. So yeah, I would look at some of the resources that we're going to include in the chat. I don't specifically, I can't answer any questions around Canada. So I don't unfortunately know the answer to that one, but certainly use our Member Connect forum. There are probably some people in the forum that have handled this. And so I'm sure you can get an answer to that fairly quickly there as well. Okay. Next question is... No, okay. Oh, this is a good question, Sacha. So next question is from Lucy. Many people seem unhappy with the publicist that they work with. What are some things that you should do to vet a potential publicist if you want to hire them? How do you gauge whether their work is good?
I think this stands regardless of if it's a publicist, an editor, a cover designer, or anything. So for me, I would go and look at their previous work, like what have they actually done? And then I'd try and speak to those authors, like what was their experience? Like it's one thing what they put on their websites, but it's an entirely another thing to actually get it from an author who's worked with them, sorry. So yeah, I go and look at some of the campaigns they've run, some of the authors that they've worked with, some of the aesthetics that they've created or the marketing materials, see if you can see what the sales have been like. And then I would try and speak to authors in the community that have worked with them.
Yeah. Well, I agree with that. I mean, you definitely have to use your network as much as you can. I mean, I know there are a lot of different publicists out there. I don't know. It's kind of it is kind of hard. I mean, maybe you could do a trial run, right? Like maybe you could come to an agreement with the publicist to say, all right, we're going to do something for 90 days or 60 days. And then you can kind of see how things go and then, determine whether you want to sign a full contract based on that. And if they are not willing to do that, then maybe that's a red flag, right? But also think about what they're going to do for you. Ask them a lot of questions about their other clients. What have they done for their other clients? What has been successful? What hasn't been successful? Ask them what they think the best thing for your books would be, and follow your gut. Follow your gut is what I would say. So. Yeah. I think it's a rare day that most indies would work with a publicist. I don't know if you feel that way, Sacha, but it's kind of a rare day.
I don't know. I feel like models are changing and fracturing. Like I actually have seen it, but I think it's when you get to a certain level rather than necessarily at the beginning. I feel like it's more sort of mid to high tier list authors that would do that. Maybe authors who are trying to get more of a physical presence in terms of physical book sales, or authors that are more hybrid, working with like Source Books and Bloom Books, companies like that, publishers like that on the paper side. So yeah, it's rare for a new indie author to do that, I would say.
Yeah, and it depends on your genre too. So there are certain types of nonfiction authors that seem like they are able to do pretty well with a publicist because they've got a book that's in a certain niche, and the publicist can help them with traditional outlets, for lack of a better phrase. But yeah, for a new author that's just starting off, it's going to be pretty rare. But yeah, when that day comes, you will know, and you're going to have to just be vigilant and really use your network. Okay, next question is from Ellen. So I'm going to summarize Ellen's question. Ellen has a book that she's doing print on demand, and there's 740, or she has, there's a 740 page limit as a maximum page count. But her novel is probably going to end up being over that. So what would you recommend, Sacha, for somebody who has a novel that is bigger than the current print-on-demand requirements? What do you think they should do?
Well, you can increase the size of the book, which will decrease the page count. So if you're currently 5x8, make it 6x9. That's the first option. The second option is to go to a formatter rather than using like Vellum or Atticus, and they can then stretch the width on the page, so how far the words come across the page, so you can expand that slightly. I think you might be able to do that in Vellum actually a little bit. I'm not entirely sure. I feel like you can now. I'm starting to say that out loud. So have a look at the settings on Vellum as well for that. You can change the font size to reduce font. So those are all the things that you can do for keeping the book as is. The other thing that you can do is print with somebody else. For example, BookVault or Ingram, they have, I believe, slightly larger. I think they go up to about 1,000 pages, maybe just under 1,000. So have a look at the print requirements for definitely BookVault. Go higher, because I've got an omnibus that is like 1,000 pages. So check with BookVault, and yes, Ingram as well. And then failing that, split the book.
Yeah.
That's your only other option, is to split the book.
Yeah, that's the nuclear option, right?
Yeah.
That's the option you don't want to have to do unless you get there. But yeah, I would exhaust all of your avenues. Yeah, I think you have to be creative. I think a formatter, this is an area where a formatter really could help you, because they probably have seen this before and know exactly what to do. Okay. Next question is, this question is from Michael. So, recommendations on which vendors do the best full service marketing. Where can I find a vendor for sci-fi, for example, that does marketing services?
I'm out, because I would never use a service like that. So I have no actual industry knowledge. I wouldn't want to give advice on that. And really, at the end of the day, the person who knows your book best is you. And the other thing that I find is that when I know people who have worked with these companies, you often end up doing a lot of the work, because they don't actually know the tags or the hooks or what the tropes are. So they end up asking you for all this information. And if they're eliciting this information from you, you might as well do the work anyway, because you're having to do the work of pulling the quotes or pulling the tags and the hooks. And then I'm like, why pay somebody else? You've already done the hardest bit. The rest of it is just slapping it on social media or in an ad or whatever, So sorry, I know that's probably quite a brutal answer, but also
Yeah, it's tough. The full service marketing thing, I have never. There are definitely companies out there. It's never been a good fit for me personally.
Yeah, no me.
It just doesn't. It's like they say that only 50% of marketing works. Nobody knows what the 50% is. It kind of feels like that. And then when you start doing the math of how much you're paying these companies to do your marketing, you really want to be making sure you're justifying a return, and you're going to end up having to do a lot of the work yourself anyway, like you said, Sacha. So that's hard to recommend, but if you want to look for something, again, use your network, and then also check out our member services directory, self-publishing service directory. So if you're an ALLi member, you log into your ALLi dashboard, take a look at our directory, see what we've got, and I would use someone in there as your port of call, because that's another issue, is that sometimes people can get fleeced. So you really want to make sure that if you choose to do this, you're investing with a good actor. Okay. Well, that was our final question, Sacha. So thank you everybody for listening to thank you everybody for listening to Self-Publishing with ALLi Member Q&A podcast. How about that? So half and half. I got it right the first time, messed it up second time, but I'll get it right next time. I promise.
Honestly, I just hope that you don't, because it's an on-running thing.
It is kind of an on-running thing. So maybe I'll pretend to mess it up every time.
Yes.
We'll do that.
Entertainment.
Yeah. Pure entertainment in your earbuds. So thanks for listening, and we'll be back next month. Talk to you soon. Bye.
You have been listening to the Ask ALLi Members Q&A with Michael Ronn and Sacha Black. Our Members Q&A podcast stream is proudly sponsored by BookVault. Sell high-quality print-on-demand books directly to readers worldwide and earn maximum royalties selling directly. Automate fulfillment and create stunning special editions with BookVault Bespoke. Visit bookvault.app today for an instant quote. Our weekly self-publishing advice podcast is produced by ALLi, the Alliance of Independent Authors. Find more author advice, tips, and tools at our Self-Publishing Advice Center, selfpublishingadvice.org. And if you haven't already, we invite you to join our organization and become a self-publishing ally. You can do that at allianceindependentauthors.org. Now, what are you waiting for? Go write and publish.